Imagine for a second that your brain is a city. And I don't mean a small town. I mean the most complex, bustling, high-energy metropolis in the known universe. You have billions of citizens, your neurons, commuting, working, sending messages, and keeping the lights on. It never sleeps. It consumes 20% of your body's entire energy supply. But one day, the power grid just starts to fail. At first, it's just flickering streetlights in the suburbs. You forget a name. You walk into a room and don't know why. Then entire neighborhoods go dark. The connections break, the roads crumble. The city that was once brilliant and alive begins to fade into a silent gray fog. This is what happens in dementia. And for decades, the world's smartest scientists have been trying to fix it by sending in more trucks, more chemicals, more drugs to patch up the roads. But they've been failing. Because what if the problem isn't the roads? What if the problem is simply power? And what if the solution to restoring that power wasn't a pill, wasn't surgery, and wasn't a miracle drug that costs a fortune? What if the answer was something so simple, so ancient, and yet so misunderstood that we've been overlooking it for a century? What if the answer was light? Today, we're looking at a piece of technology that feels like an early arrival from the future we're building toward. A helmet. Yes, a literal helmet that beams invisible light through your skull to recharge the dying batteries of your brain. And we aren't talking about wellness trends. We aren't talking about magic crystals. We are talking about hard data. We are talking about double-blinded trials, a fearless group of researchers, and results that have left doctors absolutely stunned. If you think dementia is a one-way street, you might want to buckle up, because we are about to try and turn traffic around.
PBM is a therapy that uses specific wavelengths of light, and it helps the cells to work better. It's not heat or a laser. It doesn't cut tissue or anything like that. It's gentle light that tells cells how to produce more energy and reduce stress. So if you think of it as cells getting a signal to repair themselves, recharge themselves, and basically function more efficiently.
Okay, before we strap this helmet on, we need to talk about the obvious question hovering over all of this. Why haven't we fixed this yet? We can transplant hearts, we can edit genes, we can put a rover on Mars. But if you walk into a doctor's office today with dementia, the prognosis is basically the same as it was 50 years ago. Why? Well, it turns out your brain is living inside a fortress called the blood-brain barrier. And honestly, it is a nightmare for doctors. Think of the blood-brain barrier as a fortress wall built to protect the most valuable city in the world. Its entire purpose is to keep toxins, viruses, and bacteria from ever reaching your delicate neural tissue. And it does its job with ruthless efficiency. The wall is so tight, so selective, that it blocks 98% of all small molecule drugs and 100% of large molecule drugs. Yes, 100%. So when Big Pharma spends billions developing a pill to dissolve plaque in your brain, they slam straight into that wall. To get through, they have to smuggle a drug inside a Trojan horse molecule or use an ultrasound to shake the gates open. It's inefficient, it's expensive. Most of the time it just doesn't work. But there is one thing the fortress can't stop. One thing that doesn't need a disguise, one thing that can pass through skin, through bone, through the barrier like a ghost. Light. Specifically, light at a very specific wavelength. This is where science gets incredibly cool. You see, the light you and I see right now, it's tiny. The human eye is actually pretty limited. We can detect a microscopic sliver of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. We call this visible light, violet to red. But what's just beyond the red wall, just past what the eyes can detect, lies a zone called near-infrared. Roughly 700 to 1100 nanometers. To you, this light is invisible. You could be drenched in it right now and never realize it. But your cells know. Specifically, the little power plants inside your cells called mitochondria. You might remember the phrase, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's true. Every single thought you have, every heartbeat, every muscle twitch requires energy. That energy comes in a form of a molecule called ATP. Think of ATP as the currency of the body. It's the cash. When you're young, your brain is a billionaire. It has endless ATP. It can build new highways, repair damage, and learn new languages for fun. But as we age, when we get hit by diseases like dementia or long COVID, our mitochondria start to go broke. And here is exactly why. Inside your mitochondria, there is a little engine called cytochrome C oxidase. I know, it sounds like a villain from a Marvel movie, but stick with me. This engine's job is to take oxygen and turn it into water and energy. It's the last step in the assembly line. But when your brain is stressed from aging, from inflammation, from toxins, it produces a molecule called nitric oxide. Now, normally nitric oxide is good. It helps blood flow. But in a stressed brain, it becomes a bully. It rushes into the mitochondria and shoves the oxygen out of the way. It parks itself right in the engine. It clogs the machine. So now you have oxygen trying to get in, but it can't. The engine stalls. The ATP production drops. The factory shuts down. This is called metabolic crisis of dementia. The brain literally starves to death, even though there's plenty of fuel and oxygen around. It just can't burn the fuel. This is where the light comes in. When you shine near-infrared light onto that clogged engine, something magical happens. The light hits the nitric oxide and kicks it out. It knocks the clog loose. Boom! Oxygen rushes back in, the engine roars to life. ATP production skyrockets. The city turns the lights back on. But real quick, if you love stories about technology that defies the odds, and you want to be the smartest person in the room when your friends start talking about biohacking, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We are tracking the future of science, and you don't want to be left in the dark. So, how did we figure this out? Did a genius neurologist wake up with a vision? No. Like most great discoveries, it started by accident. In the 1990s, NASA was trying to solve a problem. How do you grow food on Mars? They were experimenting with red LED lights to grow potatoes and wheat in space, but the astronauts tending the plants noticed something weird. Their hands were healing. Small cuts, scratches, rashes, things that normally take forever to heal in zero gravity, were disappearing fast. Scientists were baffled. They looked closer. They realized the red light wasn't just feeding the plants, it was feeding the astronauts. It was boosting the mitochondria in their skin cells. So researchers thought, if this can heal a cut on a finger, can it heal the brain? Fast forward to today. Enter Dr. Marvin Berman and the Quiet Mind Foundation. Dr. Berman isn't someone dabbling in consumer gadgets. He's a clinician who spent years digging into the neuroscience behind this technology. He's been obsessed with non-invasive brain technology since 2005. He teamed up with researchers at Texas A&M University to answer that one big question. Can we use this space healing technology to actually fight dementia? They recruited 60 patients. These weren't healthy 20-year-olds. These were people diagnosed with mild to moderate dementia. These are people who are starting to lose the thread of conversations. People who struggle to navigate their own homes. The trial was rigorous, double-blind. They gave the patients a device. It wasn't a massive MRI machine. It wasn't a terrifying sterile hospital bed. It was a helmet. Honestly, it looks a bit like a bicycle helmet from the year 2050. Inside the helmet were arrays of LED lights tuned to that specific, magical, near-infrared frequency, 1060 to 1080 nanometers. 6 minutes, twice a day. That's it. You wake up, you put the helmet on while you drink your coffee for 6 minutes. You put it on again before dinner. No pills, no injections, no side effects. They did this for 8 weeks. Now, in the world of dementia drugs, success is usually defined as you didn't get worse as fast as the other guys. Most drugs just try to tap the brakes on the car as it goes off the cliff. But that's not what happened here. When the researchers got the data back, they They didn't just see the brakes being tapped. They saw the car turning around. Let's look at the numbers, because numbers don't lie. They put these patients through a gauntlet of cognitive tests. First, the mini mental state exam. This is the gold standard. It asks questions like, what year is it? Count backwards from 100 by sevens. In a typical dementia patient, this score drops over time. In the quiet mind group, the scores didn't drop. They climbed. Then came the logical memory test. Imagine listening to a short story about a woman going to the grocery store and then being asked to repeat it back immediately. Then, 20 minutes later, being asked to repeat it again. For someone with dementia, the second time is usually blank, gone. But in this study, the score skyrocketed by roughly 3 full points. If you're not a neuroscientist, let me translate that for you. This is a massive deal. That is cognitive revival. But the most impressive one was the trail making test. I want you to imagine this. You have a piece of paper with circles on it. Number 1, letter A. Number 2, letter B. You have to draw a line connecting them in order. 1A, 2B, 3C, go. It sounds easy, but it requires executive function. You have to switch rules in your head instantly. For a damaged brain, this is torture. It causes panics. But after 8 weeks of light therapy, the participants improved their speed by nearly 1/4, 25%. The brains were processing information faster. The wires were reconnecting. And here's the part that really gets me. It's not just about the test scores, because you can't hug a test score. The caregivers, the husbands, wives, and children who watch their loved ones struggle every day, they reported something that data can't capture. They said their loved ones started sleeping better within the first week. They said the mood swings, the anxiety, the confusion, the frustration just leveled out. They described the ones they love as being more here.
I started to be more present. I started to remember where I put that, what I was going to do that day, what that lady that I met last night, what her name was.
Imagine that. Imagine getting your father back, not because of risky brain surgery, but because of a 6-minute light bath. Okay, I know what you're thinking. If this is so amazing, why hasn't my doctor prescribed a light helmet for me? That is the $1 million question, isn't it? We talk about the forces that shape scientific progress a lot on this channel. So, if you want to know why some breakthroughs get buried while others get billions, make sure you're subscribed. The truth is, medicine is a giant ship, and it takes a long time to turn. For the last 30 years, the entire medical establishment has been betting on biochemistry. They've been looking for the magic molecule, the pill that dissolves plaque, the chemical that fixes the brain. They have spent billions of dollars failing. They've been trying to fix the software without checking the hardware. Dr. Berman's work suggests that we've been looking at the brain all wrong. The brain isn't just a chemical soup. It is an electrical machine. It is an energetic system. If your battery is running low, you don't just pour chemicals on it, you recharge it. That is what the Quiet Mind Foundation is doing. It is bypassing the blood-brain barrier, which blocks almost all drugs, and delivering energy directly to the engine room. It's not masking the symptoms. It's providing the cellular hardware with the power it needs to run its own repair protocols. Your body knows how to heal. It just lacks the energy to do it. Light gives it that energy. So what does that mean for the future? It means we might be standing on the edge of a new era of medicine. Energetic medicine. Imagine a world where you don't wait until you have dementia to treat your brain. Imagine a world where brain hygiene is just part of your day. You brush your teeth to save your gums. You put on a light helmet to save your mind. We treat our phones better than we treat our brains. We panic if our battery drops below 20%. But we let our brain run on empty for decades? Dr. Berman's research is showing us that we don't have to do that anymore. We can keep the lights on. Whether you are addressing the slow erosion of memory or the acute fog of a virus, the solution might not be in a prescription bottle. It might be in light. The fog is lifting. And for millions of people currently navigating the darkness of cognitive decline, the future is looking significantly brighter. But I want to know what you think. Would you wear a helmet for 6 minutes a day if it meant keeping your memories intact? Or does that all sound a little too Star Trek for you? Let me know in the comments below. And if you learned something new today, if you felt a little spark in your own mitochondria, hit that like button. It helps the signal routing network, the system that lights up certain videos the same way mitochondria light up the electrical machinery of the brain. This is Catalyst Scientific Discovery signing off for now. And as always, stay curious.